Today I get to move from rolling on roulettes to peeking at packs, find out what's going on as I hereby invite everyone to join me on my adventures through Marvel Snap. Hey everybody, it's Annabelle. So these spotlight caches have gone away and have been replaced with Marvel Snap Packs. And the first brand new card that we are getting in these Snap Packs is going to be Hydra Stomper. Hydra Stomper comes for a universe where Steve Rogers joins Project Pegasus to be injected with the Super Soldier Serum and become the first Super Soldier and fight in World War II. However, in this timeline, he was wounded and could not be used as the test subject. This forced Peggy Carter to become the Super Soldier instead. He was then seen as unfit to serve in the military anymore as he could barely walk, and the army was about to let him go back to civilian life. However, Howard Stark had other plans in the works for this young man. Hydra Stomper was a creation by Howard Stark after he was given access to the Tesseract. Stark used it to build a large armored suit, but he needed a brave pilot to go into it, and he could only think of one person right for this job. So he went to a defeated Steve Rogers and asked him if he still wanted to fight for the red, white, and blue, and something a bit more green. Rogers was then put into the suit and went to help fight against Hydra. The armor took flight over the skies of the war, and the pilot gained more confidence as his team moved over the countryside and both fought in many a battle. Hydra Stomper was presumed to have been blown up with the pilot inside after it was used on a mission to slow down a train rigged with explosives. However, during the raid, both were found, and it was used in the fight with Captain Carter. But the suit ran out of power after Captain Carter was put through the portal with the Tesseract tube. However, Howard was able to develop a brand new power source for the armor, and the armor was brought back to life. It fought side by side with Bucky Barnes as a two-man army that destroyed every Hydra base on the Earth, bringing an end to the organization in this timeline. Hydra Stomper would just be as useful as any other big tank if it was not for the fact that inside is Steve Rogers, and much like his main universe counterpart, he has the courage, patriotism, and righteousness to do what is necessary. And though he did not get the serum in this timeline, he need to keep fighting for the little guy and made him more than the ideal candidate for this particular piece of armor. Even though he still sometimes feels as though he's useless, the only thing he's good for is his armor. His love for Peggy Carter fills his confidence in battle and gives him the strength to fight even after she has disappeared from his world. Hydra Stomper was originally designed and built so it could participate in the war. It originally used the Tesseract as its power source, but now uses a new power source thanks to Tony Stark's father, Howard Stark. It has built-in pistons to flip over tanks and break through walls. It is more than durable enough to handle any bullets fired from planes or tanks, and is even able to survive an explosion with no damage. Is able to fly great distances and is able to maintain its flight for large amounts of time. It can also shoot a special repulsor beam strong enough to take down a tank when aimed correctly. Hydra Stomper is a large armor suit made to help fight Hydra, with a pilot that got a little bit better as his teammates moved over the countryside. This is represented in Marvel Snap as it'll get a little bit better for each teammate that has moved. So in Marvel Snap, what this does, it is a 3 cost 2 power with the description of ongoing. It'll have +1 power for each time one of your cards has moved in this game, before it's come out, while it's in your hand, and while it's on the field. As far as I'm concerned, this is about a 4-star rating card. Now, before I get too deep into the ratings, which I will just do in a second, a little bit of change up about how things are going to go forward with this. Since the spotlight caches are now gone, the correct thing that I consider to do at this point is go to the shop and you want to pick up every card in the Series 5 pack. Now, the only reason you might not want to do it this particular week is come next Tuesday, all the cards that are in Prehistoric Avengers will be taken out. So if you've even gotten any of the what-ifs for this particular season, next week you will have the smallest pool to get a brand new card. And what I would highly recommend if you've got the tokens to pull it off is to get every single card that you can from the seasonal series pass. So when the next week comes up, you have a 100% chance at getting the brand new card, because that'll save you about 1,000 tokens from buying it individually. And when the weekend missions come up, you'll get a bonus from the weekend missions, which will make the pack even a little bit cheaper. With that being said, I'm still going to do one roll on this particular week, but after this particular week, I'm just going to have only the card that's the brand new card in my pack. So it won't be a surprise which card I get every week. I'll just get it min-max so I get the brand new card every week. And I'll keep doing that as long as I have the tokens to get the brand new card every week. I, however, have more tokens than I know what to do with at this particular point, and could probably get every missing card if I really wanted to. So do be cautious, do know what you're into, and do watch with the changes that have happened. Alright, now to actually discuss why I think this is a 4-star card. The reason that it's basically a 4-star card is because this is basically the Morbius of the move archetype. If you're playing any kind of move, this is going to be your builder, this is going to be your collector, this is going to be the card that you want for a move deck. This is kind of what move needed for a very long time. The only problem is one of the best cards that you can use to move in your deck for this is Silk, and Silk doesn't see a lot of play. And part of the reason that Silk doesn't see a lot of play happens to do with both Kingpin and, more than anything else, Scream. So if you are playing the positive move deck, I'm not sure you can get around the quote-unquote negative move deck. And what I mean by the negative move deck is just the move deck that has Scream in it. Now, there is a great bonus to it, where basically if you set it up correctly on turn 6, if you have Mystique, you play both down the Hulkbuster and the Mystique, and you get twice the points, and you can hide that all until turn 6, and basically move very well, and then just play that right on the last turn. But that's also one of the problems that you have with the card. You really don't want to play this on turn 3, because on turn 3, it's basically the equivalent of a bishop. And even throughout the game, it's not going to gain too much more power than a bishop. You can get it a little higher than a bishop because it's every single card that you move, not just every single turn if you move a card. But you might have a hard time seeing it get higher than a normal bishop. And the reason that bishop doesn't see play, it just has to do with the fact that it's so targetable. One of the things that is currently running around everywhere in the world is Enchantress. And Enchantress is running around for the Captain Falcon and the Goliaths and all the other ongoings that currently exist. And this is a perfect target for the card. Now there is an interesting way around that where you can just play where something small movement-wise and go with something like Werewolf by Night. Get the Werewolf by Night down on 30. And then every turn play small on reveals. And then on turn 6, bang everything down, and then the enchanters can't do anything about it. Also, do be cautious. Stuff like Juggernaut's not going to work with this card. Juggernaut doesn't move your cards. It's stuff that you do to move your cards, not stuff that you do to move your opponent's card. Also, do be cautious about space. Movement decks require a lot of space for some odd and inexplicable reason. They require a lot of setup. They require a lot of good locations. Now the thing is, once you get a move card down, you can have a bad location if that card can move by itself. Or if you can find a big way to move it because you're not out of getting into places like Sanctum Sanctorum or Death's Domain, because most of your stuff is moved. Now, even though this is an ongoing card and can be used with Mystique, it's not quite the card you want to use for an ongoing deck. So don't look at stuff like Onslaught and Spectrum. This is meant for a move deck that just happens to be an ongoing card in a move deck, not a move card in an ongoing deck. The last card that everybody's going to talk about is Heimdall. Now, Heimdall's pretty good for this deck, but you're going to have space issues with Heimdall. But when you move Heimdall, assuming you can do the full move on Heimdall, it's going to give your card 7 power just on its own, which means that just on Heimdall itself, this becomes a 3/9, which is much. You can't ask for anything more than that, and that's with just Heimdall itself. So that might just be the way you go. You just play it down earlier. You play down normal stuff, and then you just play Heimdall, move 7 cards, and get a 3/9 that you just play down early. Now, if for some reason you haven't changed and updated to the new system, the 2 other cards for this particular week are Madam Web. Madam Web is pretty much one of the basically needed cards for any kind of move archetype. I even use an index that don't play heavy move. There's nothing funnier than to play a Black Panther on Madam Web and then move it next turn and watch as they play their Shang-Chi onto the Madam Web and just go, what happened? The other card in this particular week is going to be Aranya. Aranya is a 1/2. It's not that good. It still hasn't seen the power for it. Even in move decks, it's starting to be cut out. So if you are rolling for keys, it's not a bad week to roll for keys. But you might just want to update and get these cards for cheaper. Because unless you have all 4 slots empty, getting the card you want is going to be a little bit of a risk. And wasting a key, especially now that the new system is out, is losing 1,000 tokens if you get that 4th slot. Now, if you want to roll all 8 keys because you want the variants for this, because this might be the only way you can get these variants for cheap, go for it. I will do my final roll on this. I'm just going to buy a pack and see what I get in the pack. After this, I will always make sure I'm up to the newest pack. So for the last time ever, let's find out what's inside our pack. pack says we get Starbrand. So I'll be doing one on Starbrand this Friday if you want to catch me live doing it. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, remember, play for fun,